Additional aids and services are available to individuals with disabilities. To make such a request, please contact us by email, by clicking the Help tab in the PD portal, or at pdportal@tamu.edu, by phone, including Relay Texas at 1-800-441-7323, or in writing to Train PD, PD Portal Support, 4477 TAMU, College Station, Texas 77843. Both a transcript and accessible document of the content presented in this webinar can be found as resources in the course description. Click on the blue links under Course Resources in the description. When a link is clicked, a new browser window will open.
Today, we're going to be talking about rebranding integrated education and training programs. And our presenter is Ricardo Rivera. He's the director at Brownsville ISD Cameron County Consortium. My name is Wendy Christensen. I'm your host today, and helping me out is Yoli Oliver. I'd like to welcome our presenter, Mr. Ricardo Rivera. Mr. Rivera has come by roundabout ways to adult education. He obtained his BS in law while working as a manager for Sons Transport. He then moved to the United States, working in transportation while he achieved his teaching certification in ESL, science, and bilingual education. Once certified, Mr. Rivera then moved into adult education. He has served for over 12 years as both ESL and GED instructor, as well as tech instructor and coordinator. Mr. Rivera still found time to volunteer to teach computer classes and earn his Master of Education in Educational Leadership from the University of Texas. Ricardo brings a wealth of international workforce experience to his current position as director of the BISD ACE Consortium for Cameron County. That experience is reflected in his leadership strategies, which are expanding partnerships and certification opportunities in Brownsville adult education, providing support and opening transition classes for bilingual GED, and initiating commercial driver's license, construction and welding classes in Cameron County. Mr. Rivera's business experience, his passion for helping adults reach their goals, and his desire to help his community to expand its horizons all infuse his tenure as head of adult education in Brownsville, Texas. We welcome you, Mr. Rivera. You can take it away.
I want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining me today and joining us today for this presentation about what we've been working here at Brownsville ISD Cameron Consortium. I want to start by going over our objectives, which is to discuss how we rebranded our recruitment strategies for our IET programs. And in overall, it also helped us rebrand all of our strategies for recruitment. We will also discuss how we rebranded our free IET services into a scholarship approval process. We'll discuss methods to keep IET students engaged in the classroom, and we will share with you some results, some success stories, and some lessons learned along the way, and the future goals that we have for our IET programs. Let's start from the top. With the rebranding purposes that we had, we didn't have a logo or something that was identifiable for the adult continuing education program. Most people here in our community only knew us as either the GED program or the ESL program. They had no idea about the services that we were offering. The first things that we did was look for a logo. We had our first trial run logo, and this is the one that we're sticking to, the one that you're seeing on your screen right now. It's starting to help us to be identified in the community, and you'll see that in a little while. Once we got this logo in place, we started buying into the fact that we were a team, we were a school, and we needed to be recognized in the community. So if you can see, we have our shirts there. That has helped out a lot because when we go into the community, we are identifiable now. Now we have something that builds that community where wherever they see our logo, it's going to come back to us. Everybody that works here really liked it a lot. The fact that we belong to a department that is now recognizable. And it helped a lot with culture. Even the students are starting to recognize the fact that we have school shirts and then this is where they come to school. There was a big misconception because we do service Cameron County regionally, and there's cities in Cameron County. It's not only Brownsville. So a lot of students would think that we only offered services in Bronzeville because we would use our school district logo for all purposes. This is our old flyer, by the way, and this is our new flyer. We are able to identify ourselves, and we have created flyers, not just one for all of Cameron County. For example, this is specific to Bronzeville, but we created flyers for Harlingen, San Benito, Point Isabel. So the students would know that they didn't have to drive 45 minutes from their hometown to us in Bronzeville to have classes. And then we distribute these flyers regionally too. That when we go and promote our services in Harlingen, they receive a flyer from the Harlingen area and the locations that we have classes in. So they know that they're going to receive their services wherever they live in the Cameron County area. Whenever we go out into the community, we have our general flyer that includes all the information from our services. And then we verbalize that we have our IETs, and we tell them the certifications that we offer. So when they sparks an interest in them, oh, I want to know about CDL classes, then we give them a specific flyer for that certification. It has what they need to be in that class. This is really good because the student gets to take a list of requirements that they're going to need for that class to be able to qualify for that class. And at that point, we take the opportunity to tell them that they will be receiving not free classes. We keep mentioning the word free in our services, and we have rebranded that into scholarships. We have scholarships available for you. So at the beginning, when we are recruiting, they know that they have to work towards that scholarship so they can get into that IET class and get certified in whatever area that they're going to get certified in. Our rebranding starts from how we present ourselves, and also from the documentation that we give out during recruitment. And then who handles recruitment? Well, the director, myself, distance lead, career navigator, lead teachers, all teachers, students, and community members. So it's all hands on deck. Everybody that I meet, I always ask them, is there any place or location or community event, anywhere that we can go and recruit for our services? And when I say recruit from our services, I say all our services, and then we individualize depending on what the interest is. For example, in the IETs, well, then we recruit for IETs and along with our general services. It's starting to pick up where the community sees the interest that we have to be involved in these kind of presentations. We contacted influencers in our area that has a big following on social media. So we got a lot of calls from people that are interested in our program. These community members are always willing to help people to move along. And it's at no cost to the program. They do it for free. So this has helped out a lot. And I strongly encourage, if you haven't done this in your areas, that, there's a lot of people regionally that like to help the community. And they're great assets to the adult ed program and also to their followers. They get all the information out and it comes back into good things for the community. Promoting our services among our current students. The students that are already registered, they show up, they're coming to class. I have classroom visits with them. And every time I go to the classrooms, along with my administrative team, we give them information about what's happening. We give them first the information, we share with them our flyers, and then we ask them to participate in our recruitment efforts. We give them a flyer each, and we just ask them to try to recruit at least one person from the community, from wherever they go, that need our services. And it's starting to grow, it's starting to be a trend, and they feel valued because who better than our students who are receiving our services to promote our program. We also receive invitations, and we reached out to radio stations highlighting our IET classes. I think it's a very attractive offer that we have for our community. Our local radio stations have been very helpful in this area. And like I said before, again, this interviews that we do, there's no cost to the program. We even set up shop at the local flea market. On the weekends, we go out there and we distribute informational flyers on our local flea market. We participate in Saturday community events, health fair for the local school district. We participate in El Día de la Mujer, where we distribute flyers for Women's International Day. We'll ask the community members if we could put one of our flyers in their windows, whether it be a bakery or a store or any kind of restaurant that'll allow us to do this, so we can help people get informed about the services that we offer. It's a lot of fun too, by the way. Another thing that we have done to recruit for our IETs is we have gone to open houses for local middle school and elementaries. And since we're part of the school district here, we have used this to our advantage. We divide and we conquer to participate in this promotional opportunity. So we divide the schools and we send teams of teachers to promote our services and to connect with the parents of the kids that go to our system here in Brownsville. We piloted this year and continuing to grow this into the other cities in the community, where the other school systems within Cameron County. And it's a great opportunity to connect also with our community. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be very welcoming with the other cities in our community. This is what the candidates see. Our certification classes that are offered as Microsoft Office Specialist, Certified Nurse Assistant, and phlebotomy. We started construction, welding, the OSHA certification, the CNC operator, and the commercial driver's license certification. One thing that we did to start these programs, and I'm talking about the welding specifically, we partnered up with our CTE, and they have a welding program that is offered to the regular K-12 students during the day. We reached out to the CTE director. They're doing that program during the day. If we could do it in the afternoon when the regular K-12 students are not there. And we came up with a plan, and we've started a welding class that we didn't have before. This has been a great partnership because it's lowered the cost on the certification, and it's in-house. And it's allowing us to also see what other certifications we can do in the afternoon with using our own CTE department. So this is what a candidate sees when we are recruiting them. They see the requirements if they hadn't seen them before, and we go over the requirements for this. In this case, the welding safety certificate, and they see what they need to get that. Now, some students will ask, well, what if I don't have one of these? Well, you get to participate in one of our regular classes, whether it be an ESL or a GED class. And once you do receive your documentation, or once you do get your driver's license or state ID, then we will be able to place you in one of these IET classes. So we don't turn anybody away. We just put them in line where they need to be to they work for that IET certification scholarship. This is a class of welders. Actually, this was the first class of welders that graduated. They see that there's people in the community that are already doing this. It's just an extra bind for the student. These are one of our partners that has hired welders. We contacted this employer. It's a big company that employs welders. They employ steel cutters. They employ office personnel that do forklift operating. So it's a great partner that we have.
How would you identify a community influencer?
Go into the classrooms with your students and ask them who they follow, who they think is somebody that everybody knows that does good things for the community. Their students will tell you.
Did you have to pay for the radio station interviews?
No, we reached out to somebody that works there at the local radio station, and we asked them if there was any way that they had some free time that they could include our information. And they agreed. They said, yes, you can come in and we'll do an interview for you during one of our sessions, and that way you can get all the information out. And it was at no cost to us.
Do you do the OSHA IET as a standalone IET, or is that part of something else?
It's part of something else, but it wasn't available before.
And what do you do if a student is undocumented, or if they don't qualify for a scholarship?
Well, depending what their need is, if they want to go into the GED class, we put them on a non-IET GED class. Once they do get the proper documentation, then they'll be first in line because they're already our student. The same thing goes if they need ESL services. We put them in a regular non-IET ESL service. And then once they get the proper documentation, then they'll be first in line for one of our scholarships. Whatever the need is as far as documentation, we even guide them as to where they need to go to get their documentation. If they don't have proper ID, whether they need to go to Texas DOT or to their own consulate, we help them with that too.
If they don't qualify for the scholarship, you put them into regular classes. Is that what you had mentioned?
And we work towards getting them qualified. Weekly regular registration sessions. This is like for all services. So we had a standard practice for people walking into our door. And the practice was that we gave the candidate our next registration date. And then we waited to see if they would come back for that registration date. We still hold our regular registration sessions, but now when somebody comes in the door and asks for services, receive a registration folder from our receptionist. And she obtains the necessary documentation right there and then. She makes copies of them and helps them. And now the registration has started. They fill out the documentation, they turn it to our receptionist, and then we have a weekly date for testing where we bring in all those candidates that we got for the week that walked in our doors, and then we screen them for possible IETs. That's where they're identified and are recruited to receive a scholarship. So it helps the candidate that comes in the door not have to wait 2 weeks to actually get them started with registration. It's just made that process a lot easier. And then we have those people that if they don't get any information 2 weeks later, life changes that quick and they won't be interested in coming back for our services. And in this way, they start that process as soon as they walk in the door. We also have a new practice of registering online that also funnels into the testing dates that we have for our candidates, and they come in and then they just do the testing part and they can start a class as soon as that is done. Once we have identified these students, we start with orientation for IET services. And during these orientation, they receive all the information that it takes to receive the scholarship and to keep the scholarship. Because what we started with the scholarship is also, we have based it on their performance, and it's a renewable scholarship on a weekly basis. So they know that they have to have good attendance, and they know that they have to stay in class, and they have to perform well in order for that scholarship to be renewed for the next week. Everybody is different as far as how everybody operates, but it has happened in the past where some students decide to be out for a week or two, and then come back and want to continue their IET services. And that creates a toll on the trainer, and it's hard for them to catch up. During this orientation, they get all that information about what it takes to obtain and to keep that scholarship. The process that we have for registering our students for an IET scholarship is as follows, and I'll explain that more in depth in a little bit. We recruit them, as I was showing you how we rebranded those recruitment efforts. And then they receive the scholarship orientation. Then from there, they have a scholarship interview. After that, they fill out the documentation. They get a conditional approval for the scholarship. And then after 2 weeks or so, the scholarship is awarded. Throughout this whole process, they know that the scholarship is a renewable scholarship on a weekly basis. If a student does not meet the IET requirements, he or she will be assigned to a non-IET class. For pre-qualified students that go through this process, they move through the next phase of orientation. What happens during the orientation? Students are given an overview of the GED training requirements for the class. We provide the students with scholarship requirements and continued weekly approval. So we keep repeating the scholarship requirements and the continued weekly approval because it comes back into the student knowing that they have to be in class. It's a scholarship. They know that they are receiving free money, so it's just in their best interest to stay in class. So qualified students are informed that they will be placed in a trial for at least 2 weeks before starting the actual scholarship or the IET training. If the student does not meet the IET requirements, he or she will be assigned to a non-IET class. There's a buy-in from the student that they're receiving this scholarship and it has this strings attached that they had to meet. So it keeps them on task. When we go over the requirements, that we have these forms that we've created about what it takes to get one of these scholarships and what they have to do. We give them this form and it has everything on it that they have to do. For example, in this case, we have the Class B certification form. And of course, they have to be 21 years or older. They have to have a valid driver's license, of course, a social security card or a working visa. They have to be enrolled in ESL classes at ACE or GED now, because we've expanded that program. They have to pass a fingerprint background check. They have to have a driver's license clearance, and they have to pass a DOT physical exam. During this interview, our personnel has an opportunity to assess if the candidate is viable to finish the certification. This is an opportunity to get to know the candidate and get more information about what is it that they want to do and what is the career pathway they want to go on. And this is a great opportunity to get the information from the student, whether it's something that they're going to be actually committed to do and not quit. We always tell them, if you're not sure 100% right now that you're going to be committed to this, once you're ready, then you come back and then we'll start the process for your scholarship with the next cohort. So it gives the student also an opportunity to assess themselves personally and see if they're going to be able to be committed to the times the training is going to happen. If the student says, yes, I am committed, I want to get the scholarship, now we have this form that they fill out. And now this form, it also is where the student agrees to what the class requires. For example, in this case, which is also for the CDL, required 60 hours of ESL classes are required by the Texas Workforce. Take 5 DPS computerized tests, take a driving permit, complete the inspection driving test with DPS, complete fingerprint test background, get a TB test, attend classes regularly and arrive on time, attend classroom instructions at BISD transportation, participate in hands-on skills training and complete all required testing, notify instruction if unable to attend class, complete all required post-assessments, notify the instructor if needs to be exited from the program for any reason, and then complete the course and instructor evaluation forms at the end. The second part of this form has an overview of what the average of what it costs to pay for this. And so they see the cost of the scholarship that they're receiving. So at this point, they know that they are conditionally approved for the scholarship. They still haven't gotten the scholarship yet. They're conditionally approved. At this point, they're allowed to join, they start the class, but the scholarship hasn't been awarded for the certification. Once they start class with the contextualized ESL or GED teacher, we still further screen them. So they have to be in this class for a minimum of 2 weeks and tell them that their scholarship now is based on their attendance. The teacher further screens the student, of course, the commitment towards their scholarship certification. This is an area where it helps us see if the student is going to be coming to class every day, if they're actually committed. If they're not coming to the contextualized class, they're going to start missing on the IET class. And at that point, we can also offer them to just stay on the regular non-IET class. And then once they're ready, they can join the next cohort. 2 weeks later, the teacher recommends the candidates for the scholarship. And at this point, if I haven't already, I visit the classroom and I tell them that their scholarship is going to start and their certification trainings begin. I remind the students at that visit that what the requirements are for this class and how rigorous it is and how important it is for them to come to class every day. And one thing I do tell the students is, look, if you're going to be doing this and you come to class every day, you're going to finish very fast. We're trying to design our programs where it takes the least amount of time for the students to get their certification. A lot of them have survival employment, so they want to get that certification to get a better employment. So students understand that the scholarship is renewed weekly and is renewable based on their attendance and their performance in both the contextualized class and the training class. So they have to be doing good in both classes for them to continue. At this point, the contextualized class teacher and the trainer, if they have a student that is missing class or is not performing adequately, they flag them and I get their information. And then that's the opportunity where I get to talk to the student on a one-on-one basis. And we talk about what's going on and how I can help them to get back on track. How do we build the students' persistence? So excellence is built on trust, communication, and a structured plan. To help our students, we follow a simple plan. We have a structured plan. From the beginning, we inform that everything that they need to do for the scholarship. We set clear weekly expectations for them. We constantly monitor their performance and attendance. Of course, we student-based the contextualized learning, and I myself visit the class bi-weekly. And I also celebrate their progress. For example, anything along the way that their certification when they get their driver's permit. Students see that not only the teacher, the trainer, career navigator, the lead teachers, but the director also is very involved in their progress. As you know, communication is very important. The teacher with the student with the teacher with the career navigator, the teacher with the IET trainer, because we need to communicate how they're doing. And of course, I myself visit the IET classrooms as much as I can. We started this rebranding strategy at the beginning of this school year, and we've done a third class. Our first class, we had a 100% completion rate. All the students graduated. Our second class, we had a 98% completion rate. And our third class has not finished yet, but their attendance rate is at 93%. So basically, we lose one student in the two classes. It's a program, a process, a rebranding that is working. The student feels that they're receiving a scholarship of value. They go back to their homes and they share that they qualify for a scholarship. So they become very committed to the program that they're joining. What happens when we have an interest of a potential candidate and certification training has already started or the cohort has already started? So what happens is that, we create a waiting list for IET registrations. If somebody comes in our doors, our receptionist screens the student and includes them in the list for a certification, whether it's welding or CDO, and then they're next in line for the next cohort. Since they come in the door, we already identified them and we have them ready on a list. Once the next cohort for certification is available, we pull from this list to have their scholarship process initiated. What have we learned through this year of rebranding our services? The 2-week trial period when they come in is crucial for the teacher. It's crucial for the student. This is where we know what the student is going to be like in the training. It's very important that we keep regular registration and our IET orientation separate, because there's a lot of information that is going to go towards the IET orientation that on a regular registration, it's too long. It would be too long to get into those details. One thing that we also learned is that our teachers have to be trained on this new rebranding model. Plan ahead. We look at the certification as a block, and we plan for the whole block for the semester that they're going to be in. And make sure proper requirement student documentation is in place, and this includes the commitment form, the constant monitoring from everybody, the lead teachers and myself. Also, the students need to be recognized. This model, especially the CTAs, has helped us get more for our money. In-house with our BISD CT department, the cost has gone down significantly, maybe about 65% cheaper. So it has helped out a lot. What are the future goals that we have for our rebranding strategies? We plan full integration of the new rebranding model, scholarships for all IET programs for the next school year, 22-23. The ones that we're currently piloting are the welding, the CDL, and the construction. The one that is currently working on is the CDL. We plan to keep expanding with more IET programs to target on-demand jobs. We plan also to create more partnerships throughout the community. And we plan to continue to scaffold non-IET students to prepare them to join the IET programs in the near future. We plan to continue to innovate our processes to better service our IET students. There's always a lot of learning involved after we start one of these programs, so we continue to evolve to grow in this area. All of this that I've gone over doesn't happen if this team doesn't work with me. So I want to thank all of the ACE team. I know some of them are probably in this meeting, and I want to thank them all. They're all wonderful people that are invested in helping our community.
How do you define completion? Is it a completion of the certification, or what's completion in your program?
Yes, the completion of their certification. Some of them are not done with their GED, so they continue to finish. They're probably, they got 2 tests in, they need 2 more. They finish the certification, but they continue to test for the other 2 parts of the GED. So the completion for us is that they actually finish their certification. And of course, all the other requirements, whether it be 60, 40 hours, everything that is involved for the class. The only thing that usually is pending is finishing up for the whole, for the GED, because they need some more skills in that area.
The non-IET class, is it a regular ELL or a GED class?
Yes.
What are the language requirements for your IETs? Is it beginning, intermediate, or advanced ESL? Do you have language requirements?
It depends on which one. For example, usually it's intermediate to advanced ESL. And we do have some of these that are the GED, but they're all in English. So it's usually intermediate to advanced. During the interview section of it, we further assess the candidate, see if they're going to be able to be successful in that certification.
Was the completion rate for all of the IET offerings that you showed, or was it just one field, such as the welding?
That one is for the first two that we started. The third one is still working. And they're
and
both,
what were the first
one of
two?
them, welding.
Okay.
Welding and one construction.
Okay.
And the other one is the CDL.
Do you use an exit interview for your IET students for tracking employment gains later on?
Well, the good thing is that something that has been happening with our career navigator, she's been working really hard on that. They've all been offered employment. We're waiting back on the actual getting them to that bridge.
If the scholarship isn't renewed, do you get any refunded training dollars, or do you charge the student?
No, that's why we are very rigorous at the beginning.
Can students continue the program and pay for themselves?
The thing is that since it's in-house, the answer would be no. We could probably join later.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Thank you, Yoli, for your help.
We hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded webinar. After you have passed the final test with a score of 80% or greater and have received your certificate of completion, please take a few moments to complete the course evaluation. Participant feedback helps Train PD at TCAL continue to provide high-quality professional development. To leave a course feedback, please go to the completed portion of your transcript. To do this, hover over the My Learning tab and select View Your Transcript. Click on the drop-down arrow next to the word Active and select Completed. Then, click Evaluate in the drop-down menu next to the course you just completed. Please note that your feedback is greatly appreciated.